Hey everyone, welcome to another edition, a very happy edition of Hang Outlander. We're live on That's Normal, our YouTube channel, and on Google. Hi everyone, I'm Beth. I write for That's Normal. I'm having a Dr. Pepper tonight, and we have some very special guests with us tonight. We're joined again by the girls from My Outlander Purgatory. We're very excited. Tracy, say hello. Tell us what you're drinking.
Hello, I'm Tracy from Outlander Purgatory, and I am drinking the rest of the Clos du Bois that I drank when we recapped the show. It's French, it's white, I like it. It's all good.
That sounds delicious. Carol, say hi.
Hi everyone, I'm Carol from My Outlander Purgatory, and I am drinking, just like Tracy, the rest of the habit that I was drinking the other night because it gets the job done.
Tiffany, say hi.
Hey, I'm Tiffany. I'm with That's Normal. I snap for That's Normal on Outlander. I am Snaplander. I'm happy to be here.
She does such a good job. The snaps make me laugh every time.
I'm drinking water, by the way.
So good.
Yeah.
Julie, say hello.
Hi, I'm Julie. I also write for That's Normal, and tonight it's no wine, it's coffee. So
Yeah,
I know.
What are we all too depressed or something?
I think that's it. I think that's it. It's that, and I'll probably fall asleep if I have a sip of wine on like national on live on YouTube.
National television, did you just say?
National.
Did you call this national television?
I said that once too, like my face on national TV. Like we're on the internet, you guys. This is the internet. It is forever, though.
It is forever. And
Becca.
I am Becca, and I am drinking a delicious Carmenere, and I have a bowl of popcorn, like a child. And I write for That's Normal. I own it with my partner, Nikki, who is at The Cure tonight.
Oh, I'm so jealous.
Oh.
So
She's not with
jealous.
us. She's
Let me
actually,
just tell you.
she actually works. She works the backstage at the Hollywood Bowl, so she sees everything. And,
Let me just.
okay, talk about The Cure.
I love The Cure so much. I was the girl who had The Cure like written on her backpack and on her jam box like in paint pen. I have every album. Love it so much.
Hey, Flirt.
The very first gift that I ever got from like a real boyfriend was a cassette single of Friday I'm in Love. Ugh. It's so jealous.
Well, they're there for 3 nights, and this is the second night. She said that they're very lovely. They're not like, and they play for 3 hours straight and don't take a break.
Wow.
It would be like a religious experience. It's like when I went to see the Pixies. That's how it felt because like the first music that I like loved. Anyway, no one cares about.
Anyway, right, I know. Then, don't do Outlander.
Back into Outlander. I'm really jealous that she's at The Cure. I didn't know she's at The Cure. If I'd known that, I wouldn't have freaked out. Okay, we're into episode 207. It's called Faith, and it killed everyone. It basically killed everyone. So does anybody have a 1-second summary or 1-sentence summary of this episode that they would like to throw out there? Or at least give us your thought. Like, what's your thought?
Well, I think The Cure would be perfect to be playing in the background right now as we talk about this.
Be very sad.
Certainly best episode of the season, without question. Not even close. And probably a top 3, top 5 of the series so far.
Yeah.
It'd be in my top 5.
I just want to know, what does it mean? What does that bird mean?
The heron?
Yeah.
All I
It's
could
the-
think about
I mean,
was the
symbolic.
Pocahontas, like, you know the Pocahontas song? The heron and the otter are my friends. And that's what I was thinking about the entire time because that's the only thing I know about a heron. They scare me. Aren't those the big birds? Like, they're real tall?
Yeah, they are on the water.
Yeah, because they come out at night on the beach that we go to every year, and they stand there and they scare me because I can't see them until I get too close to them, and they're as tall as I am.
I don't think that's a heron. I think it's like a pelican.
No, it's not a pelican. They're real tall, skinny legs. And they're at least as tall as, like, a small person. They are terrifying, and I don't get it.
Yeah, I thought that was an interesting choice. I'm sure we'll get to that. Like, I didn't expect that at all. So that was interesting because when you're not a book reader, that's confusing or clarifying. I'm not really sure. I wish we had a not book reader with us tonight. They could say, this is what I thought about that.
Well, heron really isn't a big book thing, right?
No, I don't think
No, I
so.
don't mean the book. I don't mean the heron. I just mean that we suddenly saw Claire with a redheaded child.
Oh, we're going there. We're going there.
Because that's when we saw the heron, right? We saw it there, and then it
well,
came.
I mean, they kind of
Right,
it
it was at the
seemed like
end,
the bird
too.
industry was going throughout the entire episode.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm a nerd, and I looked it up because, hello.
Outlander Dork of the Day award.
Feature. Okay, so the appearance of the great...
Carol, go get Tom.
Sorry, go ahead, Julie.
I feel like, okay, here we go. The appearance of the great blue heron indicates that it is time to assert our own authority and to follow our own unique path. I can't do it with a straight face. That's essentially what somebody put on the internet, and we know if it's on the internet, it's true.
Herons are like from the Orient, right? That's like a bird that's important to them. That era of the world. I don't get it.
I don't get
Somebody
it.
will actually us in the comments and let us know what's going on there.
I didn't really think that hard about it.
Yeah.
I just thought the wings looked like an angel.
Yeah, and like somebody said blue's the color of healing, and so like it's a blue heron, blue wings. I don't know. I don't care. But let's discuss Faith a little bit because we got not Faith, Little Bree. We saw whose name we shouldn't know. Sorry for the spoiler, but it's 1954. And considering how this episode goes, do you guys think it was there for like misdirection, or is it just to like kind of assuage all the sad feelings? Why did we see Bree at the beginning?
Well, when you read Dragonfly and Amber, it opens with it opens that way too, you know? So you don't realize that she has another baby until she loses her baby.
Right.
Because I assumed when I read Dragonfly and Amber that Bree was the baby that, you know, she ended up pregnant with. So maybe it's kind of the same misdirection as the book.
I think that's probably unless you really think about the timing, that's probably the first time that's made clear, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Because in the show, they don't open that way with a sorry, spoiler, a 20-year-old Bree. They open with no Bree, so it's really, really confusing. That's what I thought. It was just really to clarify things, to make things very clear that like this is a different child that we're thinking about, and you know, if your head is really spinning, it's not anymore.
I thought it was almost also just to remind the audience, the non-reading audience, that about the beginning of the season, and remember that, you know, she's going to end. She's with Frank and she's pregnant. You know, so I don't know. I think that they're kind of trying to remind people that to kind of stay with the story.
Yeah, and she's so obviously in America. Like her daughter, there's an American flag behind them.
Right.
And Bree's like, when were you ever in Scotland? You know, and so it's just this obvious, like, remember what happened to Claire? Wink, wink. Where is she? What happened to that baby we saw, you know, bleeding onto the grass last week? Sorry,
Did you guys like it? Did you guys like that opening? I mean, I thought it was great. Because it really surprised me. Like, I had no idea. You're so used to the way they set up the show with what we call the Easter egg at the very beginning, which is just something kind of meaningful and cool, whatever. And when it kept going and you realize it's the opening shot of the show, it was like, oh my God, what's going on? Mind blown. And then you see Bree. I loved it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was pretty. I thought that was neat. I thought it was a great way to open that has finally said, you know, made us fans who read the book go, oh, that's neat. You know, like, because I haven't really felt like I've been experiencing any of that.
Yes. Agreed.
Well, for me, and probably many people, all of us, the fact that happens in general to them is so sad. So I was like, yes, I loved how they did it for the story, but also I hate that. I hate that was her life. I hate that she had to be in America. I hate that she has an American daughter and that she left. So I didn't love the reminder that that is what happened.
I expected it. I expected it, that they were going to show something like that. I thought when they were going to open, they were going to go and we're going to see old Brie, though. I didn't know. I thought we were going to get our first glimpse of, you know, the actress who's going to play Brianna. So when I saw it was a little girl, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. So.
Yeah, I really, really loved it. I didn't love the setting for some reason. Like the library was weird to me. It looked like a little corner play set of a 50s American library. I was like, pan out. Give me something else besides this little thing. But I loved the opening. I love them bringing Brie into it. I love the fact that you can tell that her daughter has no idea what her life story has been or anything like that. I thought it's probably my favorite opening that I can remember of the series. Which is weird because it's not a whole lot of, it's not like Outlander reminiscent. It's not Jamie on a horse. It's not like all the things that you think about when you think about Outlander, but it's probably my favorite opening so far. Probably because it wasn't expected, and we've been expecting so much out of what's happened so far. So let's get into the sadness. Oh, no, before we get into the sadness, we have to get into the silliness. Because everybody knows that this episode had only one moment that allowed us any sort of relief, and that was Jamie's beard. And it was not the relief we were looking for. It was the opposite of the relief we wanted. It's the opposite of the beard that we wanted. And what we're going to do is we're going to acknowledge that the beard was horrible. Everything about it was horrible. We're going to give you every joke we can think of about the beard in rapid fire. Okay? And you guys are going to laugh. And then that's it. So my first joke is, here we go. Amy didn't want to be the only one at the coffee house without chin pubes. Go.
I've never seen a merkin that I know of until that episode when they decided to slap one on his face. That it was, you know, penis. Penal area.
Sam is clearly going off to his cabin in the woods to write his manifesto.
Good one.
I don't even know.
Okay, I'm not sure if Jamie grew a beard or if he fell into Louise's waxer's trash can.
Good one.
You know.
Oh, man.
Elmer Flew and Cheetos. I don't know.
I watched the episode later than everybody, but so I had seen the pictures and I knew that this was coming, and I was like, I'm not going to laugh at that. I've already seen the pictures. I laughed out loud like I knew nothing about it. It was that hilarious.
Yeah, that beard is not growing on you. Literally, Sam, that beard is not growing.
I really am kind of, I'm looking at a picture of it. I'm really kind of fascinated, like, how they created it, what it's made of, It's made out of Louis C.K.'s pubic clippings. I mean, okay, here's my question. Are beards the makeup lady's responsibility or the hair lady's responsibility? Because if it's the hair lady, it is time to fire her. Have we not just come across enough, like, horrible travesties on Jamie's neck up to just say, no more hair lady? Now, I know it's usually the purview of the makeup person, right, Tiff?
No, I've never had to do hair stuff on somebody's face.
There are good beards out there. If you can make Gandalf.
That looked like a 20-second apply on backstage at Saturday Night Live. Kind of beard. Halfway through the sketch is falling off. Like, it was so gnarly and just ridiculous. It's funny. It's like they're, like we said with her pregnant belly, they use the beard as a passage of time, to let us know it's been a long time. He's been away. He even grew this beard, but it just didn't work. It just threw off the whole scene. Yeah. It was such an emotional scene too, and he was like, he acted it really well, but I just could not. Like a train wreck. I couldn't stop looking at it.
I was kind of angry about it because it pulled me right out of the scene. And like you said, this was the climax of the whole entire hour. And, I got back into it, but, yeah, it was like a screeching car cult.
Yeah. Yeah. You had to push it away to get into the scene.
Yeah.
You couldn't
ignore
it.
It took me out of the scene for just a moment with Claire, because there she is ready to confess, and then they went clear into Jamie, and I went.
That's what I was going to say. It was blurry at first. Like, they blurred him, and I wondered if they went back after the fact and went, let's blur that.
Well, it's like because you don't see him. You see him coming upstairs, but you don't see you never see his face, and then you see his back, and then he's blurred as he's behind her. So it's like a ta-da moment. It's like that. It's like.
It is.
Even if they would have given us some time, like as he's walking up the stairs to get used to it and laugh at the silence of him walking up the stairs, instead of him like turning around and it's like, look at my beard, everyone. Isn't it ridiculous? It was terrible. The way it was edited was bad too.
It's also
it could have been great. I was excited that he was back. I was excited that he was walking up the stairs. I saw, I was so into it. I was so emotionally into it. And then bam, his beard is like a red dress. It's just as big. It's just as shocking, and they edited it poorly.
Yep.
It was awful.
Do you know the magnet thing? The guy with the beard, you could put the magnets on. You know,
Willy Willy.
Well,
that's it.
That's him. Or like when you're a little kid and you put a beard like this on your face. That would have actually been better.
It was even worse because the sun was cutting through it, the whole scene, like the sun was hitting it, so you could see through it, so you could tell that it was like short and curlies instead of like
see like the adhesive and stuff in it. It was so bad.
I never thought I would be like not into a beard on a hot character, but after that I was like a nun for beards. Now I'm like, no, I don't want beard burn. I don't want to be near it. Don't come near me with any beard ever.
Is he like incapable of like growing a like scruff?
No, he grew a great beard for that movie he did.
Yeah.
And during his hiatus, he had a great beard, like a big.
But how long did it take him to grow it though?
I don't know. I didn't stalk him enough to figure that out.
I know. Timing is an issue too.
Yeah.
Somebody on Twitter, tell us how long it took.
Yeah. Someone tweet us and let us know, because you guys all know you know.
Carol, what were you gonna say?
I think I was agreeing with somebody, but
okay.
The only thing I can think of is it's not so much a beard as a bush.
Yeah, and you thought the beard was big. It's a good thing we didn't see lower down. Actually, it's like Outlander's the opposite. Like Jamie's beard is like full, but it's like a pelt. Right? It's supposed to be like this straight like beard pelt, and then he's supposed to be like really bushy everywhere else. But like in the show, he's just manscaped to the hilt, and he has no pubes, and then his hair, his face beard is taken over.
I think the weirdest thing about that whole thing is that, or just the show in general, the moments that were always that people can agree on, like, what? Did nobody say that? I realize that it gets a lot of cuts and it gets a lot of edits and a lot of people see it and people are so entrenched in it so that by the time it's shown to an executive or somebody who wasn't there, wasn't seeing it shot, but people are seeing the dailies. Anyway, how did that get past? Like, how did not somebody say, you know, this might take away a little bit. I know we're trying to go for something here, but
maybe it's kind of like when like you see a friend and they gain weight, like, but you see them every day, and then other people come and they haven't seen them in a long time. They're like, "Whoa, she's gained 50 pounds." You're like, "Really? She did? I see her every day. I didn't even notice."
No, because it was like the morning he was clean shaven, and then they put like Yosemite Sam's like cartoon beard on his face.
Trying to understand what is not understandable.
And honestly, like, Katrina gives him shit about stuff all the time. You know she gives him shit. Like, when he came in with that beard out of the makeup trailer, she was like, oh, no. Like, you know that she made fun of him. And he was like, oh,
well,
no,
somebody said the best part was that he was, like, not moving his mouth. So, like, he was walking. So you know that he, like, that cannot have been comfortable. And she probably was trying to, you know, she's having this emotional scene, and she's sitting there like, am I supposed to cry right now? Like, are you kidding me? I'm supposed to cry.
She probably was like, can I please just act to a tennis ball because I can't look at it.
And poor
less
Sam
fuzzy.
Poor Sam probably couldn't move his mouth because if he did, like the glue would like crack and it would just fall off in clumps, and she'd be like, "Hold on, let me gather that back up."
Jamie Fraser got alopecia at the Bastille, and we all had to see its effects. I don't even know what alopecia is. I think it's a hair
When you
disease.
lose your hair.
Lose your hair.
That's the opposite of alopecia.
Oops.
He put it on his face.
He lost it from elsewhere. Okay, so let's get into this episode because it was really, honestly, one of the best ones ever. It was super sad. It was super emotional. Props to everybody for who wrote it. I don't know. Tony Graffa, is that who wrote it?
Tony Graffia, yeah. Yeah,
Graffia?
fabulous writing. Mm-hmm.
You can tell I listen to podcasts. I have no idea how to say anybody's name. So the first scene is the "Where is my baby" scene. I guess that just made me just immediately start bawling. Like when they're messing around with her while she's giving birth or whatever, I was kind of not really. I was kind of like, oh, the heron. I don't know what's going on. But when she started screaming like, "Where's my baby?" Like we've seen Claire with kids a lot throughout the whole series, right? Even in season 1, she's kind of hanging out with kids. She even holds another dead baby in season 1, right? She's kind of with kids often. But we've never, I didn't think, see Katrina and Claire look particularly maternal. And until this scene, it was like the first time that Katrina played her fully like as a mother. And I don't know if that was deliberate or not, but it got me. And I started crying because mommy stuff brings it out. So it was good. What do you guys think?
Totally agreed. The mommy stuff, it killed me. I mean, watching that and watching her scream for that baby, just, I don't even want to do it again now.
Yeah. It was very powerful. I mean, that last sort of shot while she's on the table from overhead, wow. I mean, no words. Wow.
I think too. For me, it was that notion of you've watched TV shows where a woman has lost a baby on a show or something like that, but for me, this felt completely like it almost felt too personal and too real that you were just like, I shouldn't be watching this. I shouldn't be watching this right now. When she screamed that because she was so raw with her emotion, and that is props to, for me personally, I think this is one of Katrina Balfe's best episodes.
Oh yeah.
Ever.
Oh, yeah. This is her Emmy reel. I mean, shut it down. I keep thinking, they're going to give it to Juliana Margulies because The Good Wife is ending, and I'm going to be really, really, really pissed.
Or Eva Green because she's killing it on Penny Dreadful.
But Katrina deserves any Emmy anybody ever wants to give her for that performance. Amazing work.
Yeah, it was really good, and I know everybody keeps saying that she deserves an Emmy, and I don't think that that's not true. I think that it is, but I don't think that the whole season is Emmy-worthy on her part.
No, I would agree with that, but I mean, if the way it works is that you hand over 2 episodes and that's how you're judged. Now,
right.
That may not be the case. If you watch Outlander, you're gonna think of more episodes than just these 2 that you're handed. But if that's what the criteria is, what they're basing the judging on, I mean, that was just a fabulous piece of acting work. And I agree with you. I think that her Claire throughout the season has been maybe a little bit too sharp, a little bit too, there's a reason why we're all like, chill Claire.
Right.
Now, whether that's the writing or whether that's Katrina, we could all debate that, but
sometimes she's just on the nose, like she's super on the nose sometimes, and I want her to be a little bit, I think that Claire, and I feel like Katrina could play her just a little bit slyer. That's kind of my only real complaint about her acting. I think she's great, and I think this episode was great. I just think that sometimes her delivery's too on the nose, it's too pedestrian sometimes, and I just want her to play it a little bit smarter, because I think Claire's super smart, and I just want to see that coming out.
I'll be interested to see how this last episode and acting, did they film it in sequence? Do you guys know?
I think so.
I'll be interested to see how this performance and just the content of this episode will inform the rest of her performance now that she is playing a grieving mother who's lost her child. So.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I actually take that back because they didn't totally do it in sequence because all of the outdoor Paris stuff was done in Prague. So all of that was done outside of when they did any of the interior shots.
Mm-hmm.
So I think everything that we've seen in the interior was done prior to when they did the Prague outdoor stuff. So, like, I don't know, maybe her coming in when Fergus brings her in, and that scene killed me too, with Magnus and Suzette, that when Fergus brings her home, I mean, I think that's considered an outdoor Paris set, so that would have been done in Prague at a totally different time frame than the rest of the episode.
Wow.
The music in that scene was so good too. It was so good. But me and Beth talked a little bit after we saw it and said how a lot of the scenes this season have been really slow moving, and we're like, hurry up! There's so much to get through. Why are you spending so much time on this? But this scene was one of those scenes where I really am glad that they took their time with it, and it was just beautiful. Like the way it was acted, the music, everything was just beautiful about that scene.
Yeah, and nothing was said really.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really, really emotional and powerful. So good job, guys.
Hey, look at us being positive.
No, we had a discussion about, like, earlier before we started about how when a show is, when we're positive about it, like, all we can say is, like, explain what happened and then be like, it was so good. And then there's nothing else to say. So we need to get back to the beard. I've got more clips that I didn't use.
We can talk about something that wasn't good in this episode. We'll get there. You want to do it now?
We can talk about Master Raymond really quickly because
Okay.
I know that people think that scene is really creepy. It's one of my favorite parts of Outlander, though, is when something is totally kooky. And I've always thought that Master Raymond was just, he's so memorable. When I read Dragonfly and Amber, there's a ton of things that I don't remember. I remember Master Raymond. I remember this scene really, really well because when Diana does kooky shit, it just hits me, and like I like it. Like I like fantasy novels, and so when it's big on the fantasy, I enjoy that. So I really liked that scene. I liked everything about it actually. Even the voiceover was cool for me.
I think what was interesting, you're talking about we fisted her, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just making sure. I was confused. Even in the book, I don't think I understood that much what he did. But the voiceover, maybe it was directly from the book and I just didn't read it closely enough. The voiceover explained medically what he did. He pulled out a piece of the festering placenta, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know if I just missed that before. Because I even so that made so much sense. I thought he did some magical vaginal thing. And he didn't. He just pulled something out of her vagina. I'm sure
but that's just from the show. That's what you just said, right?
Right. That's not in the book. In the book, it's all a little bit mysterious and a little bit, I always took it more as that he was really kind of trying to help her heal by connecting her back to Jamie again. But this is a change I really liked, that they diagnosed it medically. And there was a reason for him to be doing what he was doing.
Yeah, because otherwise it's totally kooky. And I would have been cool with that. Because it is kind of odd that Claire's like, I had this wrong with me when she's in the midst of the fever, and like, how does she know that that's what's wrong with her? You're losing it.
I actually read an FAQ section on Dinah Gabaldon's website today about this, and she was talking about how Master Raymond sees Jamie as like a Viking. If you know the history of the Vikings.
Oh, yeah.
And she was saying that the Vikings had such an incredible life force that's what he wanted to tap into in order to heal Claire. And she said that he wanted to use that life force, and that he knows that Claire and Jamie have such a bond emotionally and sexually that's what he wanted to tap into in order to heal her.
Well,
yeah,
he
that
tapped
sounds more
into
of
it.
that sounds more of like what I kind of figured from reading the book, and I did like the change better.
Yeah.
I was
He
really
definitely tapped into her, that's for sure.
That's something Bhutan could not have done. Dig through.
Not without having another trip to the emergency room.
Where's
Richard Gere
Bhutan?
style.
Where's Bhutan? Bhutan.
How much do we love Bhutan?
I love that dog.
Oh my God. That dog just sat next to her. Like the best candy striper ever. That's so great.
No. I'm sorry. I'm going to disagree because here's the deal. Because Bhutan's like my dog. The minute that danger comes, that dog took off. My dog would have done the same thing. Like, shit, I'm out.
Peace. Bhutan out.
Peace. You go heal her uterus.
We do have a tweet here that says from Courtney, formidable 1217. I love Master Rayman, but it felt more mystical in the book, which is kind of agreeing with what we said there.
Yeah.
A lot
It
more
definitely
scientific. Yeah.
I mean, she does do like, I don't know what he did to my body, and he like moves his hands over her body, and she says that the fever kind of dissipates or whatever, which is kind of, kind of kooky. I would have preferred like, even if they had done like her aura, like how he talks about her having the blue aura or whatever, like even if we'd seen some of that, I would have been totally into that. It would have been cool. That's all I'm saying. I mean, it's a fantasy novel. It needs to have some fantasy elements.
Also, I missed this from Andy. She said apparently the courtyard was part of their set, so that was in Scotland.
Yeah, I saw. Thanks, guys. Thanks for proving me wrong.
Well, actually, you forgot that part, Andy.
Yeah, Teresa, I think, will actually tell us on Twitter about that. Thanks, guys. I like to be wrong. Let's discuss King Louis. Because my thoughts on him, number one, I super thought that, and Tiff hit on the nose when she snapped it, I thought he was leading her to like some eyes wide shut, Red Room of Pain business when he opened that. I was like, oh, he doesn't do it on the bed. He goes to a little closet with some hooks and Edward Cullen.
How do I get there?
Y'all, Carlisle would totally have been alive back then.
Ooh.
He would have been all up in the French court, making sure Claire lived. He crossover fic real fast. Carlisle Cullen meets Claire Fraser. Heals her.
The nun
like,
totally knows Carlisle because she knows everyone.
Oh, totally. The only man she's ever had sex with was Carlisle Cullen. And then she had to become a nun because no one would ever compare.
This is my friend, Carlisle Colin. Oh, you don't know Carlisle? Ooh.
So I would have preferred King Louis, the actor. I loved him, but I would have preferred if he had been less hot and gross. I would have preferred if he was like, because I was into whatever he was saying all the time, and I felt bad for that.
Yeah. I liked him hot.
I liked him hot too.
And I liked this.
I just
what was it?
I wasn't looking forward to Claire having to be a little troll king, and no, I was all good with Louis.
I honestly thought we were going to see his penis. I'm not joking. I was like, no.
You were watching really close.
I really was.
Isn't it a book like he doesn't finish inside of her, so he like has to like rub himself really hard?
Mm-hmm.
That's funny. They should have done that.
Well, and I just tweeted #3 thrust and he's out because I mean that was just some real quick. Like he must have gotten real worked up out of the death scene because there was nothing. There was no. He just lift up the skirt. I don't even think he got to see anything. It was just it made me a little sad for him. Like that's probably most of his sexual interactions have been pretty much what that was. Like this spoiled guy who's never had to have a real life. Anyway, I felt sad for the guy who just molested. I mean, anyway, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. I sort of felt sad for him.
If he'd been ugly and gross, you wouldn't feel conflicted about how sad
Exactly.
you felt.
You're right. He was too hot for that character.
I agree. That's all I'm saying. He was too hot.
Did anyone else think Claire's face was the same when she first had sex with Jamie? Because she was like this. And then she just stopped and was like, that's it? It's like
that's her thinking about England face.
Yeah. That was it. It was this. Like, are we done?
Whenever she thinks about England.
Yes.
It's her, I've got a penis in me face.
It's like, okay, ow, oh, ow. Okay, we're done.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Not again.
What would have been funny is if her poison necklace had started to turn black.
Something's
I think
wrong.
he was already freaked out. I think maybe that's why, you know, the three thrusts is like, you know, I'm done with Madame Blanche. Let's just get this over with and
Yeah,
get out of here.
shouldn't he have been scared a little bit of her? If he really believed in all that stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I wonder if he was, and that's why it was just like, you know, three and done. Like, you know, it's got to be done, but like, let's
Maybe
just
it's
get
because
this
she
over
was. Maybe it's because she was just laying there thinking about England. I mean, kind of boring.
with.
Yeah, that's why he had to go off in the corner and finish. He just like maybe he didn't even finish. Maybe it's just perfunctory. He just gets to penetrate her and then leave just to say that he did it. Like that part of the transaction. The transaction is not that he finishes. He doesn't care.
I have to say, one of my favorite parts of it was afterwards. And they're both like not really looking at each other, and he's kind of like fixing his clothes or whatever, and she just does this with the curl. Like, like she, you know, between that, I mean, taking the orange was funny too, but the curl thing is what got me. That was the like, yeah, whatever, Louie.
I love
She's
the
not
orange.
even must.
I would have at least taken 2. I'd have been like,
Okay, here's where my mind went. My mind was like immediately like she got this orange because she knows that they need vitamin C and she's gonna like grow a grove somewhere.
If I dry the seeds,
It's like she's worried about them getting scurvy.
Now
And
you're
she
thinking
goes-
like Diana.
She goes to grow an orange grove somewhere. That's really why she wants to go back to Scotland, is so she can grow an orange grove. Where else is she going to get orange seeds? Nowhere.
this is true. This is true.
because you know his oranges are not seedless, that bastard.
Yeah.
I don't think oranges grow in Scotland. I think nothing grows in Scotland.
But
Maybe
they
she
do
has a
in
greenhouse.
He has 1,000.
In the orangerie.
She just needs to fight scurvy. That's all. That's her whole life's purpose. In the next book, fighting scurvy. Eat your spinach, Jamie.
That's the title. Fight Scurvy.
Fighting scurvy with the sex oranges.
Okay, so let's talk about the Comte and the Raymond scene. Because I forgot that was in the book. It is. It's totally in the book exactly how that happens.
I did too.
B, the set was amazing and awesome, and I wanted to like eat every detail of the set. It was so cool. And C, does Raymond really kill the Comte at real poison, or is it like the Juliet potion where he just has all of the semblance of death, and then he's gonna wake up like a day or two later?
I hope so.
I would like that to be true.
I have like a real like bad crush on that actor, Stanley Weber. Like
I mean, he's
beyond
fabulous.
what we talk about, you guys, it's kind of becoming a problem in my life.
Oh, I hear you. One could argue Faith not the most tragic death or demonic in this week's episode.
Because if Raymond had not done that, then the Comte would not have died. The Comte would not have died, and they would have all been on the hook for whatever Louis felt like they needed to be on the hook for. All three of them. Somebody had to die, but I don't think he particularly wanted him to die.
Right?
So did he?
No,
Yeah.
but I think he's getting himself out of a jam.
Why was he there, the Comte?
Because he was practicing the dark arts.
They
He
found that
was?
stuff in his.
They
found that stuff in
yeah,
his
they
house.
found evidence of the dark arts.
But we think he was probably set up because he seemed kind of shocked by that.
It's a good question.
No, he tried to poison Claire. He was friends with Master Raymond.
But that's it. They're friends. Why would he kill him?
I didn't think they were friends. I thought Master Raymond was selling him stuff.
He said to keep your enemies closer or
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
The very first episode where we meet Master Raymond, he talks about that he and the Comps aren't the best of friends.
He calls them rivals.
Right, which is why Claire then is so pissed off later on that they're all fraternizing and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I
I
know
just
that,
thought-
like, in the book, the Comte has, like, some sort of, like, satanic group of people that get together, right? And they have, like, seances and stuff. That's, like, a thing.
I think so.
Yes, it was.
So I get that, like, he's into that. But the reality is that, like, they weren't really fighting over anything. It's not like the comp was selling alligator's blood to other people and Master Raymond was like, stop, dude. Like, they don't really have, you didn't really see any rivalry between them. You saw, like, camaraderie and them working together. So I think he Juliet potioned her and he's still alive. But we're not going to ever find out. But that's my headcanon.
Joanna Coons says, he's dead, yo. So I don't know.
Jeez, Joe.
I read all the books and I can't remember anything about the comp.
Again, another actor that he was too hot, and like in my mind, when I'm reading books, the comp's like this sweaty, gross, nasty guy.
Yeah.
The fact that he called her "see you next Tuesday," if you know what I mean, in French, that turned me on so much. I was like, oh God, I want to put it on a ringtone.
How great was he in that final scene? How great was that last 20 seconds with him? Like,
because he knew it was coming.
And his face just like would change. Like he'd realize it, and then he started to laugh. Like, no, this isn't happening. And he's like, well, yeah, it is.
And then that like single tear.
Yeah.
Gotcha, right in the heart.
So great. So great.
That single tear is like an Outlander actor like staple. They all have to be able to do the single tear. Yeah. Every last one of them. So there's a single tear.
So good.
Sam Hewen's right eye, I swear to God, his right tear duct is bigger than anything else because that thing leaks. Only that part.
It's just the lady on set with the Visine.
Yeah.
She's just really good at her job.
And on the other side is the other lady putting the glue on his beard.
That's right. That single tear, man. I think Tobias has done it too.
Mhm.
Yeah, I believe it.
God,
Yeah.
come on, guys. When you cry, it doesn't look like that.
Yeah, they
It doesn't
certainly
go
have ugly cry. That's for
straight
sure.
down. One tear gets up in your nostril.
He was just amazing in that scene. Like from the moment he like walks on that set, it was he was mesmerizing. He was so good.
And the back and forth between him and Claire, the electricity between the two of them.
I just wanted them to make out.
I really thought she was going to kill him for a while there. Like, I thought she was kind of like totally considering like, I'm going to kill this guy.
When he fell forward, I wanted her to be on the laying down so that he could just fall right on top of her. They can make out a little bit.
Oh yeah, how about that death? He just kind of went bam, like face first.
Ouch.
And he spittled, but I don't care. He was still hot. Even his spit was hot when he the mucus came out. But
I hope he didn't hurt his face just in case he did come back or he does come back.
And his other parts that stick out in the front. I hope they're okay. R.I.P. Comp.
R.I.P.
R.I.P.
Do you think he'll come back in flashbacks?
I hope so.
Here's a bit of consolation for everybody who loves that character and that actor. Stanley Weber has a whole back catalog of French films that we can all watch.
Oh, I know. I'm very aware of this.
They're not even American, you guys. You can watch French films with them.
Do you think he says the C word in all of them? Because I will watch it.
That is a good possibility.
He also has a back tattoo, like a bad boy. Like it's written on his back. Oh my God! I don't know what it says, but I'm gonna find it.
I have one too, Stanley. I have a back tattoo, Stanley. Want to be back tattoo buddies? I'll let you look at mine if you let me look at yours.
I'm gonna look for it.
Let's get into some sadness, you guys. Get into some controversial sadness.
Oh.
Fergus and Blackjack. This scene, you guys, has caused all kinds of uproar. Yeah. And I read an opinion from one of the show people that said all opinions on this are valid after you come to the conclusion that they did it with care and they did it with forethought. They weren't cavalier about it. So let's hear everybody's valid opinion about the scene with Fergus.
Tobias was too good. Tobias was too good and too convincing, and they really went there, and I felt like it could have been scaled back a little bit.
Yeah, I think that that's just not something we should see. I
No.
think that I was thinking, like, there's pedophiles out there that this is going to be put on the internet tonight as, like, their, look, this was just on a TV show type thing. I mean, literally, that's what I was thinking. But I think they could have done that in a way that was flashes that weren't things that we could see or make out, but like a kid's just memories, you know? Flat, like things that would be very confusing and difficult, but not seeing Tobias thrust.
Thank you.
Somebody had a comment somewhere, and I wish I could credit them, that really, if you think about it, the more interesting thing to see would have been Claire's face as she's hearing the story. Because if you're grounding it in like the important narrative, it's the moment where she realizes why Jamie did what he did. So seeing that like realization in her head, you know, instead of what we had to see with Fergus, like much more interesting to me, if nothing else, you know, above and beyond any of the ethical issues of it. Like, I would rather see that. I would rather see her reaction.
I agree.
Yeah, that's
agree.
a great point.
Yeah, I wanted to, for me, it was two things. It was one, I just felt like you need to, for the writers and the producers, trust the audience more than, I didn't need to see it. I didn't need to see it. You could have said it. I think it would have been powerful, and I think it would have added to the bond between Fergus and Claire, and that fact that he trusted her, and he tells her this, and that's where her motherly, even though she might have lost it when she lost faith, that's when she really, you know, for me, that she's still a mom. Even though you did lose your child, you're still a mom. Here's this child who needs you. And then trust us that we don't need to see that. I don't need to see it. I was shocked when I saw it, and I was just, for me, it went too far. It was too far. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah, even when it's kind of, when they showed the first kind of flashback, I was like, no, they're not going to do this. They're not. And I was actually talking to myself out loud, and I kept on saying, it's too far, Stars, too far. Like, it's just, it was not anything that I wanted to see. I thought that it was way more descriptive, and they took more time with it than even the book takes with it. And I didn't think it was needed at all whatsoever. They could have done it in a better way that wouldn't have been such a trigger for people, and I just think they missed the mark big time on how to handle that.
Yeah, I read somebody, and I think it was Terry that said that they were focusing on the faces and not on anything else, and I was like, and like you're watching this 10-year-old boy scream while his head's being pushed into the covers. That's enough. Like, I don't need to see the rest of the body parts to know that this is horrific.
They definitely showed like thrusting, like a creepy thrusting.
But I think that was from the position of their faces and not their bodies. But I might be wrong about that because I only watched it like the once, and I was like this when I was watching it, so I don't remember. But the point is that yeah, it's not necessary to convey the horror of that moment for us to see so much of that moment. Like last week, I said when they cut away from where Fergus was with the red coat, like that was a great moment, but I still thought they should have kept the dramatic tension up and showed us what they showed us this time. Jamie bursting into the room, pulling him off, screaming at him, challenging him to the duel, and then get into the duel. And yeah, I think that's what they should have shown. Show Fergus in that moment. Even maybe showed Jack saying, "You're not what I ordered, but you'll do." But then move into Jamie coming in and pulling him off, and that being it. The rest of it was literally probably one of the most gratuitous things that they've done, I think, just in an unnecessary way.
And that's what I think my problem was. It was unnecessary. And I would have liked to see the juxtaposition between Claire and her shock and then go into Jamie and his violence and to show those two. For me, it just, I can't even, yeah.
Yeah, there are lots of ways to tell that story. Show Claire's hands clenching on the covers that she's sitting there talking to Fergus with, you know, and like impotently clutching to nothing, and then show Jamie clutching Blackjack's shoulders, or, you know, just like flash back and forward to how the two of them are dealing with this information, but not focus on Fergus and Jack, which is it needs to just be implied. It didn't need to be,
Mm-hmm.
didn't need to be shown. And I'll fight anybody that says different.
No, I agree.
I think that was the one scene I was like, man, I miss her voiceover. Like, I would have rather.
Aww. And we could have dealt with it.
Then
would
we
have
could
been
have dealt with
okay.
it. Then it would have been, a little more, I would have been able to stomach it a little bit more. But no.
No, I agree.
Well, I'm glad we all agree about that because I didn't want to have to fight y'all. Like,
Wrong. You're wrong.
And I mean, like, and this sounds really weird because not showing it doesn't mean it didn't happen, but showing it, like, I never thought I would say this. I can't look at Tobias. I can't look at Blackjack. I mean, where are they going to go from there?
Yeah, it's
where are they going to go
crazy.
from here?
You don't, because he has other stuff to do,
Right.
and that other stuff is timid and quiet and necessary, and yet at the same time, not going to be what anybody wants to see. It's
Right.
just. It's because it's this close to being a redemption scene, and you just like, holy crap! I can't believe we're going to have to deal with that.
Right.
And not only that, where are we going to go from there? What about Fergus now going forward? What are they going to show us? I mean, with Jamie, after Wentworth, they changed different things to show that what he was going through more so than the book did. And what's going to happen with Fergus now? Or is next episode just going to be Fergus as regular Fergus again? Like, that's what bothers me.
Yeah.
We had a good Diana Anderson, Lady Anderson, 1975, asked if they think the actors were comfortable. They asked if they think, did they ask the actors what, oh my gosh, did they ask the actors what they're comfortable with? And I don't think you said it yet, but Beth, I think you said from that same thing you read that they did, the actor and his mother were consulted and were okay with what they showed or shot.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that they discussed, obviously, with him and apparently with his mom as well, since he's a minor. And, I mean, kid actors have to do stuff all the time. That's bananas. Really.
Never trust the stage, Mom.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what we said when we heard that. Like, okay, let's take our advice from someone, mother of a kid actor.
Oh, gosh, yeah, it's too much. I'm not happy with it. But I don't think about it anymore. Let's discuss something else. Let's talk about the Louise scene.
You guys remember when I said I hated her? No, I love her.
I've always loved her. You were wrong, and I was right.
Well, I hated her because she reminded me of somebody that I didn't like.
Well, they hinted at it last week where, like, she was not really feeling too good about herself when Claire was all like, you women are, like, terrible, blah, 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 and walked out. Louise sort of did one of these, like, before she jumped back sort of half-heartedly into her little story, whatever. But you could tell that there's, like, good inside her. And it just came out in spades this week. Oh, that scene was just lovely. I want her as my BFF.
And she's pregnant. She's pregnant, so she's seeing all of this go on, and she's feeling it. I mean, oh, my God, that really.
Yeah, I really liked that scene a lot. I liked the fact that Claire's being taken care of by a bunch of women. Like, there's no Jamie. Like, Master Raymond comes in and, does his thing, but there's no Jamie around, and for so long she's been surrounded by men, and then all of these women come in and take care of her and help her out and get her through what is arguably the worst thing.
Right.
So I love that. And everybody has a story, and I had a friend who's a baby, and I shouldn't have giggled. I had a friend whose baby died at 7 months old, 10 days after my first baby was born. And I had that moment where I had to leave my newborn, go to her, and, like, watch her grieve and, decide which baby stuff to take out of her house so she didn't have to look at it. All of that stuff. And I've just felt like Louise in that moment, and the girl that plays her. It was just so, 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 so emotional and so well done. And just Claire was killing me.
Oh, my God.
It was the saddest scene.
Oh, my God, with the baby. Oh, my God.
When she was counting, when she said, that thing that I think all new mothers say, 10 fingers, 10 toes, isn't she beautiful? You were just like, you know.
And the singing.
Oh.
She kind of joked around, Katrina joked around about how they were giving her a hard time last season about the singing and the dancing, and this time there she is singing to this child.
Oh my God. Nice. I never made that connection. Good one.
Oh, it really got me.
It's such a different side of her. Like you said in the beginning, Beth, how you started this out. Like, we saw this maternal thing that we have not ever seen. And even with other kids, or even with other things that she's taking care of them, this was the first. It was amazing. I mean, she brought something out in her character that wasn't needed until now, I guess.
Yeah.
It was really beautiful.
It was, and really sad.
There's a lot. I was thinking a lot because I have not myself personally, I have not had a stillbirth, but basically that scene happened for me in my life, and I was Luis, and that was so real. That was exactly what happened. It was very, very difficult to watch, and I was thinking about how in these Outlander communities online, people overshare and they say things, and we know this. We see this all the time. You're probably part of the Facebook groups where you see things that you would not normally share with random strangers on the internet. And we saw a few things of women just relating and saying, this happened to me. And then I read a couple of the comments and of these people just finding so much. I think it was really difficult for them, but also a lot of comfort, and I thought a lot about that. I was very grateful that my friend does not watch this show, because I think that's very difficult to see. But it was beautiful. I mean, I'm sure it provided a lot of comfort and a lot of just relating to her, to people who have gone through that. That's a much more common thing even today than
I think like
I want to admit.
Almost every woman can kind of relate to that. As far as, I mean, I have a friend who just lost one of her twin boys at 8 months old to SIDS, and it happened like a year and a half ago, and that scene just made me remember of the day that I got the phone call and having to sit with her, and and just sitting there and watching my friend fall apart that way, So everyone can kind of, if you haven't yet, it's probably likely that you will have an experience like that with yourself or with somebody you love. So. Yeah, it was a really difficult scene to watch. For me, it was. I can't talk about it for very long.
Yeah. It's powerful.
It was. And I think, and that goes for me, that goes a lot between, that's Katrina Balfe for me, was the fact that there was that one moment where Louise said to her in French, it's time, it's time. And just that look Katrina Balfe gave her, there was this like, no, it's not, like, what, like, and it was like that snap of, oh, this is reality. I'm back to reality. My child is not here anymore. And I just thought her facial expressions were
Katrina's, I just thought she looked so animalistic in that moment too. Like a mother, like bear cleaned her baby. Just her face, she just looks kind of feral too. I thought it was so good the way she did it.
Yeah. So, I'm telling you, I thought it was 10 times better than the book. Because in the book, does she ever talk about holding, I think she does talk about holding the baby. Yes. But it's never described in such a way that I felt so, like, my heart was breaking for Claire at that moment.
Right.
I think it was more she was driven by her anger towards Jamie.
It was kind of weird, though, like, when she's retelling it to Jamie, and she's, like, doing it with such a mad voice.
Yeah.
I just thought it felt a little bit off to me, because she's like saying she had 10 fingers and 10 toes, and she's like kind of angry about it at the same, but she's about to say, I forgive you, and it was my fault, whatever.
Yeah, that was the one thing that did not ring true for me, was like her being so angry after she'd already decided that it was her fault, after she'd already decided to forgive him. Like, it seemed off for me, that anger face she was making. Yeah.
I mean, I thought that that's where it was coming out of, though, that that the anger was directed as much toward herself as to Jamie.
She was mad at herself.
And just at the situation in general. Like, there are a lot of times where it's nobody's fault, but you're just pissed as hell, and, like, don't tell me not to be mad. I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm just mad, and that's how I'm going to be.
Yeah.
I also liked when she was recalling it, there was these moments when she wasn't talking and Sam wasn't talking, and they would flash back and forth between them, and they were just like, he was just looking at her, and I don't know why that broke my heart that, she's just holding the baby. All we have are these visuals. There's nobody talking, and I thought that was just so powerful. So whoever planned that, I thought they did a really good job.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool too, because there's that one point where she's telling him about everything, and then they cut away to her singing, and I couldn't tell if she was actually singing when she was like kind of like a crazy moment, and she was actually singing with him in the room with her. You know what I mean? And I couldn't tell because he kind of looks a little bit shocked, like almost like she's singing right then to him as she was living in the moment. So it kind of was a cool like blur. I like that.
I thought that maybe she went into like a little bit of a trance, and like that's what I figured, and we weren't seeing that part, but I was assuming that's kind of what happened. Somebody said, "Go ahead, sorry."
And his reaction and on his face, it kind of seemed like that's what was happening.
There was a really good comment here from Courtney again saying she's so glad they didn't screw up the episode with too much talking. # silence is golden. But I think that was this was a very well balanced episode with just all of that silence and conversation and whatever it needed to be.
The stillness in that last scene with Jamie and Claire, not at the grave, but before that when they're talking. The fact, I mean, if you watch them, neither one of them move for about 5 minutes, like at all from where they are. And just the stillness of it is just so effective, I thought.
I was embarrassed I made fun of the spoons. Like at the end when you put the spoon down, I was like crying, and I'm like, I'm so sorry I made fun of those stupid spoons.
I know. I made fun of the spoons on Snapchat last week, and then this week I'm like, why are the spoons making me cry so hard?
Because when he puts that down, he goes, if we're gonna have to leave you in France, let it be with the Scotland way. And I was like,
St. Andrew.
I was so bad because I was like, can't he find something else in his spoon? There should be 12 spoons.
I was like more upset about the heirloom.
I'd like to see that scene where he's like, where's the... I was like, I wanted to see the scene where he goes, where's the spoons? Because she threw it under the bed. Why are the spoons under the bed? I was pissed off.
Yeah, I was a little worried about the heirloom aspect of things. I was like, somebody's just going to take that spoon. It's just laying there.
Was it you, Julie, who said that Bhutan was going to bury it?
People need
spoons. Heidi said that.
People robbed graves back then. Like, they dug things up. If you're just going to leave it lying there on a tombstone, you can bet it's not going to stay there forever. So I was a little upset.
At least put some of your beard glue on the damn spoon.
Give it a fighting chance. Oh, man.
Oh.
Well, it was a great episode. And great episodes don't always make for the most fun, entertaining Hangoutlanders. The most fun, entertaining Hangoutlanders are the ones where we get to complain about everything.
When there's like musical, right? When they go to gypsy conventions and sing.
Exactly.
That Renaissance fairs.
They're the best.
But this one was great, and so we had to admit that. And dang it, that's not our bag, man. But okay, we did it. So we hope you liked it. Sorry we had no giveaways tonight, but thank you for talking to us on Twitter.
Yeah, thanks. There's a lot of great tweets.
Hashtagging. Thanks to Tracy and Carol so much for joining us. We love having you guys.
Thank you, guys.
And we will see you next week, but a day late and not a dollar short because Monday is Memorial Day.
Woohoo!
So it is a holiday, and we will all be having barbecue and swimming. I'm actually going to a crawfish boil. I don't know about y'all.
We're not going to be swimming because it's like 5 degrees outside.
Really?
In the Northeast.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like kind of
by the end of the week.
Yeah, but not swimming weather.
Well, my kids will be swimming. I don't know if I will be, but that's just because I don't get in the water if I don't have to. But I will be eating some crawfish and corn.
Nice.
So
all
I
right.
hope you all guys have a good time for your Memorial Day weekend. We will be back on Tuesday at
31st, 10 p.m.
We will see you then.
Good night.
Bye.